Hello and welcome. Welcome back, folks, to The Give and Go. I'm your co-host, Reynoso, with my boy
Soltero. What's up, guys?
The Indomitable Lions is what they're called. They have arrived to the World Cup. Cameroon is here at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. And low-key, bro, these are African giants when it comes to qualifying for the tournament. This will be their 8th appearance at the World Cup, man, dating back.
The most, I wonder?
I think it might be. I need to look at the numbers for like Nigeria or Ghana.
Yeah,
those
I'm
are
curious.
teams. Yeah, their first qualification happened in 1982. The highlight of their appearances at the World Cup was in 1990, actually, where they topped their group with a Maradona-led Argentina team in that group.
Dang.
They topped it. They went all the way to quarterfinals and eventually lost to England.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, England-Cameroon quarterfinal matchup in the World Cup.
I love it.
It's so random.
I love it.
It's so random. Since then, though, they've done nothing but have group stage exits. More specifically, they haven't won a match at the World Cup since 2002.
Yeah.
A 20-year drought of not winning a game at the World Cup. Mm-hmm. But they're back. They're back. They've been drawn into Group G with Switzerland, Brazil, and Serbia. Cameroon had a pretty solid qualifying campaign, winning 5 of their games and losing 1 in the group stage, beating out Ivory Coast, who was it was a tough draw to have them in their group. They got out of there and they faced off against Algeria, and controversy ensued, drama ensued. Cameroon eventually won in extra time with a damn near last minute goal that saw them flip the result, get themselves a golden ticket to the World Cup. Algeria falls, and man, so much drama across that game and that scene. What a match that was. You look at their past results in AFCON, they went to the semifinal and dazzled at the tournament, honestly. Being host of the tournament, that incredible front three, Abu Bakar scoring incredible goals, leading them to a semifinal where they eventually lost to Mo Salah's Egypt. All in all, Cameroon has a lot to look forward to, being back at this tournament and showing some promise in the process of getting here.
When I think of Cameroon, man, I think of 2 very distinct memories. One of them was in 2014 when they were grouped with Brazil, Mexico, and Croatia.
Yeah.
And the impression they left on me was horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn it, there's this team at the World Cup.
Yeah.
I was like, because the group was almost perfect. Brazil and Croatia and Mexico were like all on the same level.
Yeah.
And they were just, knocking punches, trading punches. And then there's Cameroon, where if you knew you played them, you were going to win.
Yeah.
So I was just like, God damn it, man. Like, Cameroon really pissed me off in that tournament. Like, truly.
They were losing bad, too, man.
And it forever scarred me as thinking of Cameroon as a really shitty national team, being completely honest. Then I had a second distinctive memory of them. And it was earlier this year at the 2022 African Cup of Nations, a tournament that they hosted. And I went into it thinking, I was like, all right, let me see what they can do. Because at the end of the day, I'm a lover of the sport.
It's been 8 years. Time has passed.
And
man.
I give every team the same chance. So I sat my ass down and I watched Cameroon dazzle. I perked up and I was like, oh, okay. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Progress, man. But not only progress, true hope here. Because I see this Cameroonian side going into this World Cup as a really feisty team. When you look at their squad holistically, man, there's pockets of really good quality, man.
Oh, yeah.
Truly good quality. Cameroonian team is completely different. A very talented side. Very excited to see what they can do at this World Cup.
I'll say it now, though. They got a tough group.
Oh, yeah.
They got a tough group.
Yeah, really
They got a tough group. Let's go through a little bit of the squad and highlight some of these players that stand out to us because, bro, there's some notable names, man. There's some notable names back here. To start, at the goalkeeping position, Andre Onana, man, making that move from Ajax to Inter Milan now and getting himself some minutes over there. He's often battling it out with Handanovic, but it's a sign of his quality that he's in one of the best teams in Serie A, playing and getting consistent minutes. That's already a really good safety net for Cameroon to have. And me personally, I like Onana, man. When I've seen him play, I like him as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, honestly, in that sense, when you think about Onana, I mean, yeah, he's played with 2 really big clubs in Europe, man. And he's featured for both of them. So realistically, if you want a really solid keeper, Cameroon, they got one in Onana for sure. So when I look at this back line that's immediately in front of Onana, this back 4, I see a lot of unknown, if I'm going to be completely honest. It's actually pretty much the same back four that was used at the African Cup of Nations, and they performed really well. I was actually very impressed with a couple of players. I mean, some standouts, Collins Fye and Castelletto, I thought were phenomenal, but big center back alongside Castelletto, Ngaju. He really impressed me at the AFCON, man, and I was like, oh shit, like Cameroon have a good backline here. And then you put in Oyongo in that left back position. I was honestly pretty impressed. But since then, man, I've actually tried to look at these players at club level. They're all pretty much out of form, man. Castelletto's playing with Nantes, who Nantes had an incredible season last year. Castelletto was a part of that, and I think that's maybe why he had such a good AFCON. But right now, Nantes is going through the ringer, bro.
They started off bad.
They started off really bad. They've won one game.
Yeah.
So Castelletto is really struggling right now just from a team perspective. And then if you look at alongside him Ngadu, the guy who really commanded this back line, he too is having a tough time in Belgium with Ghent, man. A team that's like middle of the table when they had a really good season last year. And so already some of the players just aren't imposing themselves at the club level. And I think it'll be tough for them to translate that to good performances at this World Cup. They're going to have to figure something out. But you can actually extend that to the right back position too with Collins Fye. I thought Collins Fye was phenomenal at the African Cup of Nations, man. A lanky type of player, but really good on the ball and very physical. So I was like, okay, good. You know, this is a really good player, but he too, I think, is just a little bit out of form. So I don't really know how to analyze this Cameroonian team because I don't know who to look to see who's going to command this back line. Maybe they come together and figure it out, but that's just going to be completely up to them to actually do so. One player I will highlight who I think, regardless of form, is going to perform well is actually going to be MLS-based player Nuhu Tolo. Dude, he's, for me, ever since he hit the scene with Seattle Sounders, has been one of the best fullbacks in the MLS. And he's been getting the calls recently for Cameroon, and I think rightly so. His speed, his athleticism, his physicality, all coupled together with the fact that he's actually pretty good on the ball, makes him a really effective fullback. And I think with Ambrose Oyongo being a free agent, not having a club, bro,
yeah.
I think Tolo's going to come in and actually be a really good option at left back for Rigobert Song, man. But again, the rest of that back line is just out of form, bro. So a little concerning, but maybe the rest of the team can actually bring them up. Maybe inspire them to kind of find that AFCON form.
There's a report, though, I saw that the people in Cameroon haven't been sleeping well recently. Like, there's a dip in sleep quality because they've been having nightmares of Brazil attacking that back line, bro. Oh, God, bro.
Yeah,
with what you just said, man, I'm thinking about Neymar. I'm thinking about Vinny Jr., Gabriel Jesus potentially feasting upon a backline like this, man. And I hope that the good side of this defensive line can show itself out from what we saw in AFCON, man, because they were great. They faced off against really, really good offenses, and so they are capable of it. But we're asking a lot out of this backline already, man.
That's the word. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. This backline, if they figure it out, are capable. They are capable of taking on any team. But, man, are they actually going to reach that level? I don't know, and I would be more inclined to say that they just won't, man.
But where it gets a little bit more secure is when you look up front. You look up front, and you actually have some really good talent. If we're talking midfield specifically, we have, at this point, star midfielder for the high-flying Napoli side, Anguissa, man.
Yeah.
What a revelation he has been this season for his team, guiding them past big victories against teams like Liverpool, teams like Ajax, being a clinical part of that midfield and being secure in the way he plays, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. To give his full name, Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa, man. Dude, he's popping off right now. The thing is, he's always been a good midfielder. You know, he was actually a part of that AFCON team, but it's funny because as I watched Cameroon play, I actually didn't think Zambo Anguissa really stood out for Cameroon. Seriously, I thought Collins Fye, Engadeo, Ngamaleu, Carlo Toga Kambi, Vincent Abubakar, I thought those guys really, really showed up in Cameroon. And I know Anguissa was a part of it, but I didn't really notice him. I'm going to be completely honest. But, dude, the way he's playing for Napoli. But the thing is, you could say that about any other Napoli player.
Oh, right,
he has the perfect partner right now, Piotr Zielinski, and they're just teaching each other, man. They're just playing with each other, and they're clowning any other European midfield, bro. And so to have a player like Anguissa, who is in the form of his life, bro, the form of his life, I think you're really excited to see Anguissa play,
yes.
even if you're not a Cameroonian fan. I think Anguissa is going to level the playing field in this midfield.
Yeah, man. That coupled with a really good season at Napoli, this could be a chance for Anguissa to launch himself into a different stratosphere going into the December transfer market. Like, there's still some interesting options in this Cameroonian midfield with Undua as an option, Guyet, Hangala, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce any names. These are tough names for me. Those are interesting options though that they have at hand as potential options to pair with Anguissa in that midfield.
Yeah, I completely agree. Gouet really surprised me at the AFCON. And he's one of those players where, low-key, I just had never seen him play before. Never seen him play, didn't know who the guy was. Him and alongside a lot of other players, they really did stand out for me at AFCON. So I think if you're looking for solidity alongside a creative or a mobile Anguissa in the center, I think Gouet and Andua are going to be the go-to guys that provide coverage for Cameroon. They're runners, they're fighters, and they're pretty good on the ball. But again, what really impressed me was their spatial awareness, specifically their ability to try to get the ball back. That's one thing that really surprised me about this Cameroonian side is they actually played a pretty progressive style of play, man. They were very hungry to get the ball back, and when they did, they immediately tried to transition. And I think if you have players like Ondua and Gouet to get that job done, it can maybe allow Anguissa to play a more free-flowing role. I think that's why Cameroon were really successful in January, and if they can just find that form, I think they can still be successful here in the World Cup.
Up front, man, it's similar to these other African teams that we've been reviewing. It's exciting, bro.
Yeah.
It is exciting. This is what African teams are banking on the offenses to provide high-level entertainment this tournament, man, because it's stacked up here, man. On the left, I think we have surefire starter, Lyon's very own Toko Ekambi, who was incredible in that AFCON run, paired up with Abubakar up front, playing at a different level of league, but showing that when it comes time to perform for the international team, bro, he can bang in goals. Yeah. He knows how to score like no other, and he does it happily, man.
Yeah.
Happily.
Yeah.
My biggest question, though, and something that I want to pose to you is, who would start alongside them if it's a front three? Is it because I actually see a question with like Bayern Munich's Choupo-Moting, who's really good, but also getting on that later side of age. He's getting a little older. But you also have like an exciting option in Mbeumo from Brentford, who could also be paired up with these two really good players. Who's going to be the final filler for Cameroon when it comes to their offensive threat?
Choupo ain't playing. I'll say that right now. Choupo ain't starting, bro. He's only coming on if it's extra time.
Yeah.
If Tokagai and Abubakar are healthy, Choupo's not going to play, bro.
Yeah.
He'll come on in the 80th minute if they're down a goal and they need 4 strikers in the box. That's the only time Moting is going to get playing time. The quality of Abubakar and Tokakam is just so much higher than him. I'm just going to be completely honest. But what's interesting, man, is that Cameroon just got a new signing. They got a new signing in Mbeumo from Brentford. Yeah. He just made his debut this past September, man, and it's always interesting because this happens a lot in Africa. We'll talk about it when we eventually talk about Ghana, who just got Inaki Williams, which is insane. But it's crazy because since there's so much influence, for example, like in France.
There's a potential.
The African teams have a potential to just get a new player like that if they just ask.
That's why it's surprising me because I looked up Mbeumo's age. He's 25.
Yeah, I know.
He's like been around for a while, man. And he's making his debut.
Yeah, just for the fact that he's playing pretty well for Brentford. Cameroon like, shit, man. We hear your parents are Cameroonian, man. You want to play for us? Dude. Yeah. So he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. I'll go play at a World Cup. Yeah. And the thing is, it's a great option, a really good option, but I think he actually kind of embodies the spirit of what this modern Cameroonian side is all about. It's about pace. It's about pressure. It's about speed, man. If Gouin and Onandua can do their job in the midfield, then players like Toko Ekambi and maybe Mbeumo on that other side can just reflect off of that. They can start that press early and at least try to impose themselves on what will be more technically sound teams. And the thing is, I think it could work. And Mbeumo's still very technically sound. He's been very good for Brentford these last 2 seasons in the Premier League. But what's interesting is another player who, again, really stood out for me in the AFCON was Ngamaleo. A really good player that, honestly, he may not be technically better than Mbeumo, but just from a preference standpoint, he played really well at AFCON. He's been the go-to winger when, for example, Toko Ekambi's been injured or maybe Abubakar's not playing. The coach, whether it's Tony Conceicao or now Rigobert Song, has chosen Ngamaleo, and I think for a reason. He fits this Cameroonian side very, very well. He does not stop running, and he does exactly what he's supposed to do, and that's just press off the ball, and when he gets it, try to make something. Again, he's not the best penetrator, but he's a good player. Now, ultimately, who do I think actually starts there? I just think you probably have to put in Buemo, man.
Yeah.
His quality is just a little bit higher. And again, he is playing in the Premier League week in, week out. And so I think for that reason, I think it's a clear choice you do play him. Now, where it gets interesting is Toko Akambi the most efficient when he's out wide? I don't know. He can play it, but is he a little bit better in a central position? At that point, do you sacrifice Abu Bakar, who is a little bit old now, playing in Saudi Arabia, now maybe not playing at the highest level every week? So maybe do you put Toko Akambi through the middle, start Ngamaleo on the left where he likes to play, and then put Mbeumo on the right? I think Rigobert Song can actually play around with his front three, but you have to find I feel in my opinion, you have to find a way to put Toko Akambi and Abubakar somehow on the same pitch. Maybe do like a 4-4-2. Would that be tinkering too much, too late going into this tournament? I don't know.
He's done it. He's done a 4-4-2.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. I think he could definitely do it. I just wonder, is Toko Akambi better when he's more central?
Yeah.
And I think he is, to be honest.
I feel like the midfield has almost like they have a key to like a treasure chest. And if they can unlock it, it'll be a ruin of golds waiting for him. That's what this offense is.
Yeah.
The offense is just waiting. They're just hoping that their midfield can be reliable and can feed them the way that they hope to be fed. The defense, that's a shot in the dark. That's just a prayer. They're hoping for the best there. But midfield-wise, I think that's the biggest catalyst and the biggest factor in this Cameroonian side is if the midfield figures out how to cohesively play with the three players up front, they can have a really exciting, like, box-to-box style of play, man.
Oh, dude, that's actually a great point because if I really look at it, the middle three and the front three, so the six players above the back line, I think the most important player is probably going to be Zambo Anguissa, playing what will essentially be a quarterback role.
Yeah.
He's going to start the offense once he gets possession back, and then from there, he's just going to have to combine with his midfielders, and then the offensive line is just going to have to play with that. And you're right. I think the midfield has the perfect opportunity here to really access their front three.
Yeah, man. This is a team that is being paired up with Switzerland, Brazil, Serbia, and Group G.
Jesus Christ.
It's an incredibly tough ask, man. It really is.
It's like a Morocco situation, man.
Yeah, man.
I do think so.
African teams got a tough draws out here, man. Like, they didn't get any room for flexibility. Like, if you are slightly off entering the tournament, you're going to get punished for it. There's no question.
Hard.
Looking at the scope of their presence at this tournament, I do wonder if this team can ultimately be unlocked and be able to produce some sort of magic in the same way that they did in AFCON, but against different level of quality. Is there a chance that Cameroon can just find their rhythm, can potentially find that flow, and be able to at least take it to teams like Serbia, take it to teams like Switzerland, go toe-to-toe, and at the very least put up respectable performances? I think that is a very likely thing for Cameroon, especially if their offense can get going, man. There's a chance they might be one of those teams that lets in a lot of goals, but can put up a number of goals as well.
For me, Cameroon's performance at this World Cup is going to come down to two questions. Question one, can they impose themselves? That's basically, I think, what you were saying, and I completely agree. If, for example, Castelletto, Consfai, Gouet, Ondua, players who play at very low-key clubs, man, Belgium, mid-tier France, if they can impose themselves and reach a peak that I thought that they reached at AFCON, then I think they have something to unlock here and really score goals against Serbia, score goals against Switzerland, especially, man. They'll have that opportunity. But for me, the second question actually isn't even on the pitch, man. It's the coach. Rigobert Song. And I remember when
the political hiring, man.
Yes, when the hiring happened, I was like, what? Because Tony Conceicao, for me, unlocked this team. He allowed this team to play free-flowing football, a style of play that I had never seen a Cameroonian team play in my lifetime. And that's why I perked up when I saw them at this AFCON, bro. I was like, oh, wow, this team can actually be really good, and I hope they make it to the World Cup. And when they actually did, I was so excited, but I hated that they let Conceicao go. Dude, they barely lost to Egypt.
Dude, yeah.
They
that's
barely
really
lost.
harsh.
It's so harsh in a semifinal.
Suddenly the Federation started feeling entitled, bro.
Yeah, they're like, oh,
we were
weren't good
hosting
enough.
it. Yeah, we
weren't good enough. Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was so harsh and honestly a stupid decision, man. A truly stupid decision. And Song, obviously, yes, was a national team hero. Is he a really good coach? For me, this is the equivalent of like Argentina signing Diego Maradona.
Yeah. They do have Samuel Eto'o as part of the staff as well, though.
Oh, is he really?
That's what's funny.
Jesus
It almost
Christ.
is the same thing.
This is like the same thing, and it's just not gonna work for me, man. That's ultimately why I'm maybe less assured of this Cameroonian team, and maybe even why the players aren't playing at their best right now with Cameroon too, because they just lost against Uzbekistan, man. I think tied or lost against South Korea, bro. Dude. So it's just like. These players are a little bit out of form, and I think the absence of having a tactician like Conceicao is actually hurting them.
You are exactly correct, my friend. I agree. There's too many questions, man. Too many questions with the connection players have with their coach, the team itself, the quality of the team. And it's unfortunate, man, because we saw the people of Cameroon be lightened up, man, be excited about this team back at AFCON.
Yeah.
And I almost wish that we could give them, that the country could give them a really sound team to root for. But going to this tournament, I just think there's too much that isn't known.
Yeah.
And that's why I ultimately have them nabbing that 4th spot in this group.
I actually think they'll play good football. I guarantee you they'll play better than they did in 2014. I guarantee that. But that's not saying much, I'll be completely honest. It does suck because this team has a lot of potential. I just think it's too late. It's too little, too late for them to figure it out right before this tournament, man. If this World Cup was a year out and they gave Rigobert Song maybe a year and like low-key another African Cup of Nations tournament to like actually see what he could do with this Cameroonian side, then I'd be a lot more hopeful. Because again, as we just prefaced, there actually is a lot of quality on this team, man. But I just don't think they're set up for success right now. And whether that's a coaching thing or players out of form, I'm not 100% sure. But for me, it's just going to end in a 4th place finish.
And that is Cameroon, folks. Let us know, what do you think about this Cameroon team? Do you see them making it out of this group and going on a pretty impressive run? Or are they more of a 3rd, 4th place type of team? Regardless of what we predict, man, it's going to be amazing to see the Cameroonian people gathered up in Qatar, rooting on for their team and just hoping for something good. So make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll see you guys next time for the next deep dive. Peace.